Hey guys, welcome back to brightnighttech. My name is Berto and today we are working on part 1 of my 3D printed double Daredevil cowl project. Wow, that is a mouthful. So the file that I am using is the Daredevil Born Again file from Do3D, but this one comes with the plain version as well. The textured version we're going to do in a later video, but if you buy this one, it comes with both, so you can save some money. Otherwise, if you just want to get the regular one, they do have that. It's called Daredevil V2 Helmet on Do3D, and this is just the plain one, just without anything, but it costs the same as the other one, and you get the extra files, so totally up to you. You have a few options, but let's get to work. Okay, we're going to do a few stands because we're going to have a few Daredevil helmets here. So this is a stand I'm making. I'll talk about that next video too. Okay, so I totally forgot to film these printing, but here they are. And I had quite an adventure trying to get this done. Now the eyes are very rough. And the back parts to begin with were very hard to print. I have a bunch of these that, like, partially printed. They just kept falling off the bed once it got to that point. And I have a lot of loss here, but I ended up having to put a raft, which I don't normally use, and that kind of fixed the problem. I was able to get some full pieces out of that. And then the whole helmet, this is actually a textured one, but this is basically what happened to the other two. Is that it got to this point and then either the supports failed or it just started doing some wonky stuff. So it took me a few tries and I finally was able to get it to print properly. I did some rafts and I printed it at an angle. I did this one, I didn't take off the supports yet. When you load the file, it's already at an angle, and I think the modeler did that so that you print it that way. I flattened it just like I always do with everything, and that did not work very well. But once I got it at an angle and changed my support angle, it totally worked. Still a little rough on the eyes, but we are going to do our best with that. Alright, so we went ahead and cleaned it up just a little bit. I am still going to take my palm sander. We're going to take some of this big material off the top because those layer lines are very deep, and we're going to work on both of these. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff we need to clean up on this, but we are going to do our best. Down here's a little rough. There's like a little line underneath the mask that is black. But because of the way I printed it, it might not be visible. So we'll see. Okay, we're going to start with our wood filler. This is the wood filler I like to use. And I'm almost done with my little thing, my little bin here. This has lasted me a year. So I usually get a lot of comments of like, oh, you're wasting a ton of money on your wood filler. You should get Bondo. You should get something else. But you know what? One of these things lasts me a whole year. And I do a ton of helmets. So, you know, for like 10 bucks, I think that's a pretty good deal. Okay, we are going to cover all these guys. I am going to take this tool right here and we're going to clean up some of these little fine lines. You want to do it when it's wet because that's when it's easy to do. Once it dries, it's very hard and can be difficult to get it out of those little fine lines. We're going to let this dry and then do some sanding. Before we do that, I did the eyes right here. We did them out of resin. I am going to do 3 pairs of them. I tried to do it on the regular printer on my CR10, but it failed. And so we went to resin. I don't know why I just didn't do that in the first place because that is the way to go. And we will get to those later. Okay, this is all dry. This is the next day. And now we're going to get to some very messy sanding. It's going to take forever because it's 2 helmets. All right, let's just get going. Alright, this is essentially done. This is just the first pass, and it's a little rough, and that's fine. The next step is we are going to spray with some filler primer, just like we did here. We're going to let it dry, and then, you guessed it, more sanding. Alright, I did the back parts here already. We are just going to do a quick sanding on them. These we're only going to do one pass at because it is such a smooth, small part. But here is the main helmet. We are going to get to work on this. We are going to try to fix the area under the eye and try to get rid of some of these big layer lines. So, like I said before, now some sanding. So I am going to take this tool and we're going to go down these fine lines to like recarve them. And like I said earlier, it's better if you do it when it's wet. But it is kind of difficult to work on it when it is wet because you don't want to smudge off the wood filler or whatever you're using off of the helmet. So sometimes you have no choice. You got to do it when it's dry. And so I'm just going to recarve those lines. We got it as smooth as we can right now. We're going to do filler primer again, and then we're going to sand it. But this is what it looks like now. And we're going to go through and do some wood filler and some spots here. We're going to spot check any kind of divots, anything like that. We are going to go ahead and cover up. And then we're going to sand, and then filler primer, and then sand again. Yeah, a lot of sanding. So we are done with that. We're going to let these guys dry and then get to some sanding tomorrow. And then we will do our final pass of filler primer. All right, here is the next day, all dry, ready to go. Time to spend like an hour sanding, so let's go. Okay, looking good. Let's get some of this powder off of here and get it ready for the filler primer now. All right, so we got these as smooth as we can now. Now it's for the next step. I'm going to show you guys how I do it. Very simple. Just cover it the best you can. Doesn't have to be super thick, but totally depends how much you want to do. We are just going to make sure it's covered. Okay, this is the next day. They are dry. Now we are going to do our final sanding of these helmets until they are as smooth as we can get it. And we're going to try to fix any little divots and make it look beautiful for painting. Okay, this is as smooth as we're going to get them for now. Next time we are going to get to some painting, which will be fun. But yeah, super excited to be working on this. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and put in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button for notifications. And we will see you next time.